Jeff Emig, we're here at the first round of the World Supercross at the UK.
Yes.
Obviously a former FIM world champion yourself, as you mentioned in the press conference.
Just a few years ago, yeah. 1996. So, but it was a much different world championship. I mean, it had some sanctionings. It was an FIM sanctioned championship, but it really was just a collection of different promoters that agreed to make the races represent a world championship. And now in 2023, starting last year, it's a much different operation. I mean, this Supercross Global has put together the promoting group to bring a true global world Supercross championship to the masses, and so it's pretty exciting. Chad Reed mentioned in the press conference that he was a little bit jealous of the opportunity that the athletes have right now, and I would second that. That it's kind of, there's a little part of me that wishes that I was lining up and racing in this year's championship.
And from our perspective, we're based in Ireland, so it's a quick hop over to come to this. It's a lot easier than I was in Tampa earlier this year, and it's a lot of an easier flight. So for global media and obviously the fans, it's a lot more accessible to see these top guys, and I guess that's what you're trying to plug into as well.
Yeah, and I put a lot of thought into this about what it is about coming to a live sporting event. Our choice, our passion is Supercross, dirt bike racing, and just being at the events live, seeing the action firsthand, is just something that's really spectacular. And Supercross obviously is a great show. There'll be some FMX, freestyle motocross stuff mixed in, super pole racing where it's just one lap, who can set the fastest lap time of the night. So a lot going on. And then with World Supercross, we also have a 3-race main event package, if you will, that creates the who wins the points for the British Grand Prix. So you get to see, like, as far as just main event type racing, is that having a 3-race final, you have 3 different starts, 3 checkered flags, and how all the points mix together, and it really makes it difficult for the riders, and it gives a rider that can sprint for 8 laps, he can go win a race. So that makes it pretty exciting.
So just looking back in your career, I was actually watching, I think it was High Point 1990 the other day, and you were leading. I think you were on a Kawasaki, you had full body armor on, which I'd never seen you wear before.
Yeah.
At that point in your career, were you a sort of highly touted rookie, and did you expect to go on to achieve what you had in your career? Because that was, I don't know what age you were then, but you were showing speed pretty early.
Yeah. I think you're thinking of 1990, which would have been my first year as a professional. I think I crashed, right? I crashed.
I don't know if the highlights seen it, but you were up front with Bale and them.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. That was a while ago. I think that probably around 1986, when I was still on mini bikes, I won a big race in Ponca City, a NMA Grand National Championship, and that was a really big win for me. And I think that was maybe the first time that I started to think further beyond just what the next race is. But as a racer, you really only think about, okay, what's next, and it's really hard to really let your mind go too far. But yeah, from just being a little guy, that's all that I ever wanted to do was go race, and become a motocross champion around the world. Supercross has really separated itself and is quite a different sport than your traditional motocross and Grand Prix motocross, pro motocross in America would be, and that really started to change about the time that I turned professional, where in the early 90s you really saw Supercross start to kind of be another branch of dirt bike racing that split off from motocross, even, you know what I mean? So and I think that in the future years you're going to see more of a split, and there'll be certain riders that they want to race Supercross all year long, and certain riders, they'll prefer motocross, and so they'll go take the avenues of Grand Prix motocross and things like that. But the future of the sport on a global scale, to raise the level of awareness and value, to bring our segment of the sport level with, let's say, MotoGP or even like F1, or maybe not even level, but in that zone, and to have that sort of prestige, what we're doing with World Supercross here is going to be what takes us to the next level.
So 90, well, you won a couple of 125, or at least one 125 outdoor title, but your main prime years, I guess, were 96, 97 on the 250.
97, 98, I had some good years.
How was it with McGrath to finally beat him? First for that outdoor title, which was a last moto shootout, which you've always been good under pressure, and you performed again, and then did that help you then beat him in 97 with the confidence? Or?
Yeah, I think it was just a big confidence thing. One thing about racing supercross as opposed to motocross is there's a certain ego and a certain swagger and a certain undying confidence in yourself. Some athletes have it. It's like even when they're having a bad day, they're like, oh yeah, I can still go win. And and then you've got other riders that they're having a really good day, but they're doubting themselves. And I think that the riders that are the former on that can just never lose that sort of confidence and belief in themselves, where they never sort of waver, they excel at supercross.
And that's what you were battling against, I guess, with
I think
Jeremy,
I
with the technical or
that.
confidence?
Yeah, I think that I suffered from some of that, kind of doubted myself at times, and once I learned not to doubt myself, and let's be fair, I mean, Jeremy McGrath, so far has gone down as history as the greatest pure supercross rider ever. His win record, his championship record is really second to none. And so that to me, there were multiple nights that I'd go home from the race really disappointed. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that is when I was able to win some races and eventually win the premier class of Supercross in America, it was really satisfying, and to know that you beat the best during his prime, has a lot of value.
On that last round in America, outdoors 96 that you won the title against, you went around the outside of him to get the lead. Sitting on that gate, what have you given insight into what was going through your mind at that point? Because that's a lot of pressure.
No doubt that was going. No.
And did you plan what you were going to do? It was just instinct at that point?
You just have that feeling, and when it comes to, at that point, it was sort of a tug of war, and he passed me on the first lap, and I was like, nope, this ain't going to happen. And it was kind of like a tug of war, and at that point, I just pulled the number one plate towards me, and I knew at that point that I had broke him, and that I was going to do whatever it took to win that day. I was going to do it, and that I spent the rest of the day with him kind of just off my shoulder, and balanced out the risk reward and did just what it took to win.
And how did that moment compare to winning the 97 250 Supercross Championship?
Supercross was different. That 96 championship was that was a big hurdle, a big obstacle to get over. And when I won the Supercross title, I was in a bit of disbelief, to be honest with you. But it really felt like Supercross was a bit of a payoff to all the sponsors. But the motocross title to me is something that really in my heart was something that I held a lot of value.
Your career didn't end probably the way you wanted to go out, with injury and other stuff happening. I know Ryan Hughes had said you died twice as a professional sports athlete, first when you retired from the sport, and then obviously again later on. How was that sort of for you to go out the way you did and then not be able to race again? Was it difficult mentally to accept that part of your life was over?
No, surprisingly, I was at peace with it. When I had my back injury, my spinal injury at Glen Helen in 2000, there just was like this, I call it my racing spirit, right there when at first I thought, okay, maybe I've been paralyzed, and then I realized I wasn't. I felt probably a lot of gratitude, and I realized, okay, I'm gonna be okay. But this thing inside of you, this spirit that just rages, and the fire that burns, like right then it left me. And it's not lost on me the significance of my recovery, because other friends of mine, competitors, weren't so lucky that way. So I feel like I'm really blessed to have recovered health-wise like I did, and it has to come to an end sometime.
And did still being in the sport as a commentator help that transition as well then? Yeah. Finally, just on who was a rival, part-time rival, Stefan Everts back in your day. Now Liam has won as a GP to make it 3 generations. What are your thoughts on that, as how that's happened and the amazement of it?
Yeah, Stefan Everts and I, we both came up through the ranks at the same time. We always had a lot of friction. So in Motocross of Nations, we always got together, had some really good battles together. But to be fair, like, we chat all the time now, or periodically. Whenever I'm in Belgium or at a motocross GP, I make it a note to go spend time with him. And it was so great to see over this last month how his son Liam's success has been. I even reached out to him, like, it's really a generational family thing with them. And so to see Liam finally achieve probably one of his goals of winning a Grand Prix race, was pretty cool to see. And so we'll just have to see where he goes from there. Now the next step is to put some more together and make a run at a world championship. And then, I mean, you would think if Liam can be blessed to do that, that'd be pretty cool for the family. It's pretty neat.
And do you think champions are born, like that playoff or that final moto with McGrath, the way you were able to deliver under that pressure? Stefan, Ricky, all those all-time greats. Do you guys just have something when the pressure's on that you can just rise, or do you ever think about it like that?
There's got to be, yeah, because there's a lot of people that do the work, and there's just the champion does it differently. The champion is wired differently and is willing to go that one step or 2 steps further, whether it be training and preparation, or whether it be risk, or whether it be focus, or just straight up determination and a will to win. We've all, even here in this iconic stadium at Villa Park, there probably have been hundreds, if not, or dozens, if not hundreds of matches where the other team was better and Villa found a way to win, and it's just a sheer determination and will it that way. And certainly I feel like I've done that a couple times in my career.
And you're football fans, this is probably pretty cool, like it is for us.
Yeah,
to
I'm a Liverpool supporter.
All right,
so,
we're United, so maybe we should he's Chelsea.
But it's nice to be here, and it's cool to see the transformation that these hallowed grounds of football have been made into. So
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jeff.
I'm excited for this weekend.
Thank you.